Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of the Dossier. As always, I'm your host, Ethan Staple. Let's get this started. In the previous weeks, we had the Super Bowl Sunday, a time for people to wager very, very silly things, whether it's money or dignity, and I took the latter. With the Kansas City Chiefs losing, I lost a very, very stupid bet, in which now I have to lose my leg hair. So, we now go in studio to watch this happen. I hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my leg waxing. Before I start, I'd like to introduce the beautiful Abby Price. Abby, thank you for doing this for me.
You're welcome.
Let's begin. It smells good. It smells really good.
I'm trying to make it so... Okay. It's like strings of it, though. Let's see. Ready?
Yeah.
Ah! Look at that!
Oh my god, I'm so smooth. My legs. Ooh, that's a weird sensation. Well, I guess let's get going with the rest of this. Take a look in our book, Reading Rainbow. Oh, my poor leg. I hope that our viewers at home really care about this.
Yep. I was like, what? Like, Tony and I were in complete awe. Like, what the f just happened? Why? You a demon woman? Why? Look at my producers right now. It's fucking laughing. It's a joke to you, huh?
Yeah.
All right, last one. Let's finish out strong. Hey, just clean that up for me real good. Thank you so much. Clean that up for me. That'd be great. Thank you. Awesome. With that, thank you, Abby.
You're welcome.
We had only enough for one leg, but this is the finished product compared to this. So I think we had a fun time here. The moral of the story, I guess, is don't bet on the Chiefs. Back to you guys in the studio.
And we're back. I hope you enjoyed that painful ordeal. Thank you, Abby, for waxing my legs. It will surely be something I'll never forget. With that now, I have a very special guest with me, a good friend of mine all the way from London, England. It is my honor and privilege to introduce to you George Sheard, a.k.a. Ace Creeper. George, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, George, to start us off, who are you? Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us, the audience. Tell us who you are.
I'm a university student in media, and I have a YouTube channel as sort of a hobby and part-time job, basically. I've been running that for a few years, so that's kind of what I'm known for, I guess.
So I gotta ask to start off with, where did you get the name Ace Creeper? It's been in the back of my mind for a while now, George Sheard, Ace Creeper, there's clearly a disconnected name. Where did it come from?
It's a weird one, actually, because I started the YouTube channel back in 2012, 2013, around that time. And I basically took it off my Xbox name, which I'd had from when I was about 10, which was Ace Creeper 9000. Xbox Live back then, you weren't allowed more than 15 characters, so unfortunately wouldn't allow Electric Death Creeper 90,000, so I had to shorten it a little bit, and we got to that, and then I watched a video at some point which was like tips for YouTube, and one of them was like taking the numbers out of the name. So I thought, well, I'll remove the 9,000, and then I just kept it.
Well, I love it. I really do love it. It really sticks in your head, so I guess that works for marketing reasons. You grew up watching YouTube. What drove you to finally start a YouTube channel?
Well, it was a bunch of things. I mean, when I was a kid, I always wanted to get in front of the camera. There's plenty of videos of my younger brother getting filmed when he's like just born, and I would constantly try and jump in front of the camera and take all the attention away. So I always had that sort of thing about wanting to be in front of a camera. Not so much to the acting level, but there's a sort of like weird in between of the sort of being in front of the camera in like a professional sense and being in front of the camera in a YouTube sense. And I'm sort of like more on that side. And yeah, I decided that. I watched a lot of YouTube. I found a lot of enjoyment out of it. And, everyone at that age, when you're about 12, 13 years old, you think you're hilarious. So Of course, I decided I'm as funny as the people I watch. Of course, I could do a YouTube channel. And about 5 years later, I actually worked out how to do it properly.
I wanted to go off of that for a sec. You're talking about, when you were younger, you were watching YouTube, you were watching YouTubers a lot. This is around the time where YouTubers are starting to make careers out of this. And mind you, you're pretty young. What YouTubers would you say inspired you?
There's definitely a few. A big inspiration for me would probably be the Yogscast, which around the time of 2012, 2013 were one of the biggest names in the UK YouTube scene, popular for their sort of Minecraft series, which was at that point a brand new game, and they'd done something new with it, made it more of a role play thing, and their personalities bouncing off each other back then. It was very memorable, and they're the ones that I still kind of stick around with. There's lots of YouTubers that I sort of get interested in. They're not, people like PewDiePie and all that sort of thing have been around for years. You get any of the big names you can mention, but the Yogscast are one of those ones that I remember watching as a kid, and I still find a lot of enjoyment now going back and watching those same videos. So yeah, definitely them, I'd say, for the early days.
To go into your specific content, you mostly work around, Doctor Who, but, you have a few other things sprinkled in there. The last time we talked, you talked about the Doctor Who Confidential. If you could just really quickly explain what that is and how that inspired you within this channel.
Well, yeah, Doctor Who Confidential was a sort of behind-the-scenes show for Doctor Who that happened around 2005 to around 2011. Every time there was a Doctor Who episode, there'd be a behind-the-scenes hour-long special to go with it, which would air on another channel. I used to watch that, and I used to love it, the behind-the-scenes of the production. And I think that was it was my first sort of introduction into the behind-the-scenes of TV. I started watching Doctor Who when I was 4, and from that young age to be sort of thrown into this sort of extended stuff, seeing all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and actually having a keen interest in that, I think it always had something in my mind that I wanted to do something in that sort of sense. I love the idea of doing, like when you're a kid, everyone does this sort of like little plays and little mini films and stuff like that. And I think I sort of fell into that as well, that sort of hole. And YouTube was just an outlet for that, I think. That mix of that passion from the behind the scenes of TV and all that sort of thing mixed with the sort of love of YouTube and people like the Yogscast, Simon and Lewis. That was, those two passions mixed together were kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll sort of try and implement that. And that's kind of what I'm doing more nowadays, especially.
So you're currently sitting at around 22,000 subscribers. I know you recently hit that number, so congratulations. With that being said, what is it like having your own, I would say, community on YouTube? Does it, scare you at all, to be like, oh my God, 22,000 people are watching me? Or, is it more like, you love talking to these people? And obviously I would imagine you do, that's why you do this. But, is it scary?
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it's one of those things where it is kind of difficult to describe, because way back when, I get very excited over the idea of 500 subscribers, 100 subscribers. That was like really exciting. And now I hit something like 20k and I'm going, oh, that's pretty cool. That's good. And like, it's just sort of weird, it's sort of getting used to it, and it's a great thing to be a part of. And I love the community aspect. You can just get an opinion on something, even if it's nothing to do with the channel. I go, I'm thinking about either watching this film or this film. You stick it on Twitter and you have about like 100 people come back to you and go, you should watch this. I'm like, all right, okay, I'll watch that then. It's little things in that community aspect that I love, but it's a weird comparison, because the way to sort of ground myself with it is like to think about, can I imagine 20,000 people in my own house? Probably not. That's a lot of people. And when you put it in that perspective, it's yeah, that is scary.
Have you ever done like a live meetup, or what's it like meeting fans? Is it strange for people to come up to you and be like, oh my God, you're Ace Creeper, tell me everything about yourself? Like, is that strange?
Yeah, it's definitely strange, because I mean, I've never done like a proper meetup, and I've not been to many conventions since I've started growing on YouTube, partially because of COVID, partially because of, everything else in the world as well. Just I didn't really fancy it. But meeting fans either at the context of like a convention or even just in the street is always weird. I don't consider myself like to be famous or anything. So when someone who just approaches me in the street goes like, oh, you're this person from YouTube, it totally takes me off guard. Like, I'm a totally different person off the camera that I am on the camera. So like when I'm walking to the shops, and this has happened this year, when I'm walking to the shops and someone just stops me and goes, oh, are you Ace Creeper? Like, I think I'm going to be mugged. Like, I'm not in the mindset of like, oh, that like someone's going to ask if I'm on YouTube. Like, I'm thinking, oh God, this person's going to mug me. They're eyeing me up. They've just stopped in front of me. Oh, what's going to happen? And then I'm in that mindset, so I'm a bit like dazed. So it is always weird and a little bit scary, but yeah, no, it's good, but it's a weird thing. It's a really weird thing when people like come up to me on the street. And I'm like, oh.
I think it's really interesting to think about, even now with masks on, people still recognize you. It's strange. I think it's even stranger now with a mask on to, figure out who somebody is under the mask.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's a strange one.
I wanted to pull back a little bit the lens on your community itself. So you've done a lot of good with this community because I know you've done multiple fundraisers. Most recently, you did a fundraiser for the Young Minds organization. I wanted to ask, what made you get involved with this specific organization? And, I know they deal with a lot of mental health and stuff. What led you to get involved just in general, raising money for mental health?
It started again, talking about the Yogscast YouTube channel. They did a thing yearly where they, and they still do it now, they've been doing it for years, where on Twitch during December, they stream for 8 hours every day. It's like a Christmas advent calendar type thing. And they do that, and it's brilliant, and they raise it all money for charity every single day, and I think that was brilliant. I sort of wanted to do something similar, but obviously without the legwork, because at the time I was in school, and I was like, I can't do like 8 hours a day. So I thought I'll do a one-off 10, 12-hour live stream, and then with the charity stuff, I think mental health in young people and teenagers is a thing that's growing. You hear more stories about it every day. You hear more tragedies and families that are devastated and, working towards it. And, the conversation's becoming more open as well. And, I think there's lots of issues out there, but it's one that particularly I really care about. And I feel like it's just one that's very close to my heart and, mental health subjects in general, but that specific charity, the focus on young people, the focus on teenagers, it's a big deal, and I wanted to do anything to really support that and just shout about it, whether even about getting people to donate or whether to get people to talk about mental health. It's a huge thing.
Well, I commend you for all the work that you've done, and it's truly beautiful, George, so thank you for that. I have in my hand some quick fire questions, so we're just gonna, so I hope that you're ready. First one right off the bat, who is your favorite doctor?
Oh, it changes every day, but probably either a mix, either Tennant, Matt Smith, or maybe sometimes Peter Capaldi, depending.
So the newer ones, I gotta respect it. I have so much love for Matt Smith in my heart.
Tom Baker's good as well.
Favorite Doctor Who episode?
Oh, God. World Enough and Time. It's a sort of creepy, it's a newer one, 2017. It's a creepy sort of, based on a spaceship, time dilation, body horror, Cybermen. It's great.
What motivates you as a person?
Oh, God. Oh, that's a really difficult one. That's difficult one for a quick fire. Knowing that at the end of the day I can sort of sit down and watch a film and have a pizza. That's genuinely, that gets me through the day sometimes. If I'm going like, I just really hate this work, but if I get it done, I can enjoy a pepperoni pizza from Tesco. Yeah, exactly.
And that's human right there. I like that. Something you've learned from being a YouTuber?
Oh, how to be a better person. I think how you talk to people online, how you communicate with people. I think it's a very big thing to. You learn a lot of social media skills, even just with everyday interactions, and you pick up new things every day. You learn what you can and can't say. And if I was never able to learn that, God knows the kind of stuff I'd be putting on Twitter.
Finally, what goals do you have for the future?
Oh, I want to work towards bigger projects. I want to sort of expand, my own skills. And as much as YouTube's done that with my own sort of freelance stuff like graphic design, editing, all that sort of thing, I want to be able to expand it. I want to really try things out. And especially with the YouTube channel in particular, I want to do something new, and I want to keep doing new things, and I want to keep surprising people with something different. If I can keep doing that, then I'll keep saying and hopefully keep a few people entertained in the process.
All right. My producers tell me we're running a little bit low on time, but I wanted to have this last question for you. So let's hop into the TARDIS for a sec, right? If you could speak to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, don't listen to people who belittle you and bring you down about things that you enjoy. I think is a solid one.
And now I wanna flash forward a little bit in time. What do you see yourself doing in the future? You know, I know you're close to, you know, graduating from uni. What do you see yourself doing? You know, let's say George at 30 years old. Where do you see yourself?
Well, hopefully working in the media industry in any sort of respect. I'd love to be working on something that I love watching, whether it be Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Doctor Who, anything like that. I'd love to be working on anything along those lines. Something that I enjoy watching as a viewer. I'd love to be part of as a creative. At age 30, I think it's a reach, but it's possible.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with that. George, with that, it's now time for you to plug your channel.
Oh, yeah, Ace Creeper on YouTube and at AceCreep2 on Twitter. You can check both of those out somewhere, I think.
George, I wanted to thank you for being on this program. It is a pleasure as always. Ladies and gentlemen, George Sheard, aka Ace Creeper. Thank you all for joining us today here on the Dossier. And now I'd like to present to you William and Mary's a cappella group, DoubleTake.
Call me a thief. There's been a robbery. I left with a heart broken and scarred. Made Noah. You can only see me from the waist down, and I know that you can only want me when I lay down. You only ever need me when the lights out. Now I'm stuck in the dark, 'cause you've taken it too far. So I broke your guitar up against the television, and I smashed every glass that you had in your kitchen. Why don't we turn off our phones for the weekend? Don't tell your friends that we haven't been sleeping, 'cause we're keeping it secret. Just call me a thief. There's been a robbery. I left with a heart broken and scarred. Made no apologies. You can only see me in the bedroom. See me in the bedroom. You can only see me in the bedroom. Get scarred. Made no. It can be so hollow, like my ribcage. The echoes follow me like the tears I swallow. In drowning all my mistakes. All I know is if my skin bled, like the ink drip from my skin, my bed will be drenched in a sky, rose red, and drowning all my mistakes. Skin on my skin, I get lost in television, taking a back like glass that you had in your kitchen. Tip on my finger, and dancing your kicks, good night and walk out the door. So I broke your guitar up against the television, and I smashed every glass that you had in your kitchen. Why don't we turn off our